And who was with you in the car at the time?
Me, my partner, my sister, and my two sons. It was fairly late. I think it was like about 11 o'clock at night. It would have been, roughly. Well, we were driving along the road and we were just having a conversation, and then we came around the bend, and on the passenger side there's like a guardrail. We've come around the bend where the guardrail is, and then we've seen something on the road, but you could see it in our headlights, and it was on the driver's side of the road, walking across towards the passenger side of the road, like coming across the road towards my side of the road. We've seen it fairly well, because like it looked at us, and you could tell that it was walking on two legs, and you could tell that it was completely covered in hair, and it was like silvery grey coloured hair. It walked across in front of us fairly fast, went off the road, and there was a big tree on the side of the road, and it's gone behind the tree, but then it kept looking out from behind the tree. As we were coming towards it now, and we're like just about to go past it, it looked out again at us, and like we got a pretty good look at it. Anyway, we kept driving, and we're all silent except that my hairs were like standing up on the back of my neck, and I felt really scared. And then I said to my partner, I said, "Did you just see what I just saw?" And he said, "Yeah, I seen it too." And I said, "Well, what the hell is it?" I said, was that a yowie?" He said, "That's what it looks like." And he goes, "I've got goosebumps and my hair's standing up." I said, "So is mine." And my sister was in the back freaking off her head because she'd seen it too. She's going, "But yowies aren't real. Can't be a yowie." And I said, "Well, what else was it?" Because nothing else walks on two legs and it wasn't a human. A couple of years later, I was working in the vineyard, and we're all there pruning, and a row behind me, there were these blokes pruning together, and the bloke goes, "Oh, I was out at Colo Heights the other night camping." And the bloke goes, "Oh yeah," and he goes, "Oh, and I seen a yowie." And it just like all comes flashing back to me, and I didn't say nothing to him. I've come home and I said to my partner, "You wouldn't believe what happened today. These people all talking about the yowies down at Colo Heights again." So yeah.
The animal always stayed on the driver's side or across the road?
No, it crossed the road. Like it started off on the driver's side of the road. It come across that lane, and then it come across our lane and come over to the passenger side. And it was definitely walking on two legs. There was no mistake in that. It was definitely covered in grey, silvery hair. There was no mistake in that. And it just walked. It walked, but it was like a little bit slumped over. And it had hair everywhere. The best way I can describe it was like Cousin It, but taller and, yeah, more of a, like its legs and that were like more like an 8 sort of leg sort of thing, like, because it was like you could see like muscle structure, and but yet it still had hair all over it. And it definitely wasn't a monkey. It had really big eyes, but you could make out its features, like it had a nose, it had a mouth. I couldn't tell you what colour its skin was on its face, but you could still see the hair around it. Like it still had a fair bit of hair on its facial area.
Okay, but when you're looking at a face, you know, when you look at a human face or an animal face, what did this remind you of anything in particular?
Well, it wasn't of any animal that I've ever seen, but it wasn't exactly a human face either. Like it was, it'd be crossed between a human and probably a gorilla's face, I suppose. Like its eyes were bigger than a human, but its facial features weren't like that animal. Yeah, like it had a nose and it had a mouth and stuff.
You said you saw eyes. Were they a particular colour?
When the headlight shone on them, they were like a yellowy colour. Like a cat colour eyes in the dark, I suppose.
When it was walking, did it walk slowly or quickly?
It walked, well, it got across the road quickly, but it didn't like run or anything. It was like just really big, you know, steps sort of thing. Like it didn't run across the road, it walked, but it got across the road quickly. We've seen it in the headlights, we've seen it walking across the road, we've seen it go behind the tree, we've seen it look out from behind the tree, then we're going past it and we've seen it look out from behind the tree again. And that was the other thing, because if it was an animal would have just kept going through the bush. It wouldn't have stood behind a tree and kept looking out behind the tree to see if we were coming or not, and checking us out. A normal animal would have just, you know, ran off through the bush. But this thing actually stopped, and it was like it was holding onto the tree and looking out, like peeping out from behind the tree. And that's what else got our attention. Like, not only did we just see this thing walk across the road on two legs and that it had hair on it, but it kept looking out from behind this tree, and no other animal does that.
The headlight.
Yeah, because like my partner said, the headlights kept getting its eyes as it poked its head out from behind a tree. Now, no other animal does that. Not only did we see what we saw, and that was bamboozling enough, but then the fact that it kept looking back at us, we're like, well, that's not an animal. We've already seen this thing walk on 2 legs. We've already had to process that in our head, and then we're like, well, what animal looks out from behind a tree? None. Our first reaction was, oh, fuck, it's a Yowie. And you get this fear. Like, I can't even describe to you the fear you get when you see this thing. It's nothing I've ever felt before. Like, I've been scared before, but this is beyond that. It's a different kind of fear you get. And that was the thing. Like, I looked at this thing and I thought, so I'm scared of this thing. I'm actually petrified of this thing, but yet I've never seen one before. So why am I so scared of it? It put this fear into you, and that's the scary thing. Like, I even said to my partner, I don't want to ever go back there. We're petrified, and that's what I said to my partner, like, that's something different, because when you see something different, you usually want to go back and check it out. This thing, we don't want to go back and check it out. In fact, we don't want to ever see it again.
But your partner felt the same way about it, like that kind of fear.
Yes, and that's the different fear. Like, I've never had that kind of fear before. And that's a hard thing to describe, because I can't even describe the feeling that goes through your body when we've seen this thing, because it was nothing like I've ever experienced before. I've always been one of those people, I don't believe it till I've seen it. Well, now that I've seen it, there's no doubt in my mind that they exist.